to lesson 7 of our website instructions and website development part. Now, if you have not created the website template, that is something you're going to have to go back and look at, because you need to make the template before you actually create your instructions, because the instructions will live inside the website. Okay, so if you haven't completed lesson 6, you will need to complete lesson 6 before you go on to lesson 7. So what are we going to do in today's session? Well, in today's lesson we are going to start by visiting our website, and we are going to go to a specific page. So I'm just going to go through how to get your website up, because you should have made it last lesson and you might not remember how to actually load your website again. You're going to visit Hub, and once you've clicked on the login button on Hub, I'm going to need you to scroll down a little bit and then click on Just Too Easy, or J2E. Once you visited J2E, you will need to click on J2Bloggy, and then you will be taken to this page. Now, I should just mention J2Bloggy does sometimes take a few minutes to load, so if that is the case, just leave it load and it will eventually load in the background. If it doesn't load for whatever reason, just try opening it again and then it should then open. What you're going to do is, on the left hand side there, you've got something set that says My Blogs. Okay, now depending on how many websites you've made in the past, before with maybe other teachers or maybe other schools, you may have a long list here. You can see I've got a long list of different websites here. So you need to click on the website that you want to open. So for example, I'm looking at the Space Chase one, and then you click on this button here called View, and then what will happen is your website should load, and it'll look hopefully something like this if you've created a front page for it. Now, in order to get to your instructions, if you remember last time we made a site structure. So if I hover over game 1, the shooter, and then I go and click on this one here that says instructions, what should happen is your page should load. Now you can see I've used this one before as a bit of a demo, so you can kind of see what will happen. But if I just choose another website which hasn't had anything applied to it, if I hover over game 1 again and go to instructions, you should see it looks something like this, and it'll be blank. The page, what you are going to look for is this edit button, and it'll be visible depending on obviously the theme you've chosen. It'll either be visible directly underneath the page heading, or it might be towards the bottom, right? But look for it, because it is definitely there. Now when you click on the edit button, it's going to take you into an editor, and hopefully you can kind of see this now at the moment. This is just your blank page, and there's nothing in the page at the moment. But what we are going to do is we're going to use a piece of software called Live Composer. So it's essentially a add-on to build your website. So you can probably see at the top here I've got visual text and page builder. Now if I click on page builder and then click on Live Composer, if you do miss this, there's another link there for it as well. So either link will take you to the correct page. Now when you click on Live Composer, what will happen is it'll basically turn the page into like a drag and drop editable module. Now on the bottom here you have different elements. Now I'm not going to go through every one of these elements. You can see what most of them do, like this one here will be for icons, that is for a button, you've got social media links if you wanted to. So I'm going to be going through some of the more basic things with you, and I'm going to explain to you how to get some, basically get an instruction manual working here. Now before we do this, I want to just explain to you a little bit about instruction text, because this is quite an important text type that we need to use. So I'm just going to get this into view here, which is my instruction text overview. So instruction text is typically found on things like recipes, leaflets, manuals, or textbook. So if you think, we are creating almost like a mini manual to explain to our audience how our game works. So typically with instructions, it tells us how to do things, it tells us what our goal or purpose is, and it gives a list of things that we might need to do. Now this is all very, very important because essentially we are looking at how we score, how we shoot, and how we gain lives in our game. If we look over on the right hand side of here, it often starts with a verb, so place, add, pour. Obviously this there is looking at a specific example, but you could have click as an example for using the computer, or press would be another example if you're going to be using a keyboard. So you can kind of see here at the moment the type of things we are going to be doing. We are going to give instructions on how to play our game. So if I scroll down here, you can look at these two examples. So we start off with the goal or purpose, which is the title there. And we're then going to look at what you're going to need. Now, you're not going to probably need this here, because obviously all you need is the game to play, but you can see the instructions there are given in bullet point format. Now we're not going to use bullet points, we're going to use something a little bit more sophisticated in Elementor to build things up. You can also see as another example here, this is an example of writing or sending a text message, and you can see there we've got like press menu in standby mode, choose messages. Well, we're going to do something similar because we're going to be saying, right, press button A to begin, and then from there on it's going to continue where you're going to have press the arrow keys to move left and right, press the up and down to move forward and backwards, and so forth. As we scroll down at the bottom here, we've got useful connectives. So the connectives can be things like first, then, before, next, gradually, meanwhile, once, after, when, while. You're going to probably be using these quite a bit. And then if you want to add something to it, so and, as well as, also, to, in addition. Now I use these all of the time whenever I'm trying to explain something, because essentially I am, with this video as an example, I am writing instructions on, or giving instructions on how you should be completing these tasks. So this will be available on StudyZone for you as a direct link. It'll open up into this page so you can see how to write your instruction text correctly. Okay, so back to this development. Now you'll notice I have a thing here that says drop modules here. Okay, and if I just go back into my other example, in fact, wrong one, sorry. If I go into the other example over here, you'll notice that the modules are in a slightly different place. Don't worry, the reason they're in a slightly different place is because the theme that I've used. So this theme is different to this theme. So don't worry if your modules are over towards the right or to the left or to the center, that's absolutely fine. Okay, so to start this, what we are going to do is we are going to put some instructions in. So very simply, I've got a text box here, and I'm going to click, drag, and then I'm going to leave go. Now what that does is it puts in some basic text for me, which is fine. That's exactly what I wanted to do. Now we need to edit this text, and the way we edit it is by clicking on this Open in WP Editor. And what happens then is you'll have this box appear. Now at the moment this doesn't look great. Obviously we've only got some exemplar, it's basically pad-in text. Now at the top here you've got text and you've got a visual. Okay, we are going to use these probably in the next lesson, but I'm going to click back to visual, and then I'm going to delete everything that's there. So I've just created a heading now which says instructions how to play my game, and what we're going to do is I'm going to click on this paragraph and then choose heading 1, because heading 1's the largest and I want it to stand out, and if you want to make it bold you can. Now once I've done that, I'm going to click confirm, which is in the bottom corner, and you can see now that's added in the top part there. So before we go any further, what I'm going to ask you to do is pause the video, make sure you click the edit button, add in instructions on how to play a game. You just make a title up, and then once you've done that, unpause the video and then we'll add the next part in. Part of this development is we are going to add in instructions to play our game. Now we've got a few options with this. We can either add in another module underneath here, or we can just drag in more text boxes into this first module. My preference is to add a module because it'll separate everything out, and as you're not used to this software yet, it's best we separate it to make everything look nice. Now before I go any further, you'll notice at the bottom there I've got something that says functionality, styling, responsive, confirm and so forth. I'm just going to click on confirm here, and then what happens is that almost saves my text box there. Okay, so we're going to click on add modules row, and you can see now I've got another option here which says drop modules here. So we are going to look at adding an image in, and we're going to add a piece of text in. So I'm going to have an image which is going to be on this side of the screen with some text on the other side, and this is fairly easy to do. So the first thing is I'm going to add in my image by clicking, holding, dragging and then just dropping. Now it's going to say no image has been set yet. We'll sort that out in a moment. But what we need to do is move this image over to the left hand side. Now the way we do that is by clicking this, or hovering rather, over this change width, and you can see I've got element width options here, and as you can see they're in twelfths. So I'm going to say 4/12 of this box is going to be for the image, and what you'll notice is the image now has gone over to the left hand side. I'm going to then drag a text box and leave go, and you can see the text box has gone underneath. That's fine. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this over and I'm going to select 8/12. And what you'll notice now is this and the text box is exactly next to each other, which is quite nice. So we need to get a little image in here. Now the first part of our development is going to be to basically say how to start the game. Now I'm going to try and get an icon in here. If I switch back to Moodle for a second, you can see on the underneath where the video will lie, there's a link here to icon website which is called Flat Icon. Now when you click on that, it's going to take you to this website, which is a brilliant website, and it allows you to get 10 free icons a day without signing up. So I'm going to click on start game. So sorry, I'm not clicking, I'm typing. So I'm looking for an icon which says either start game or something like a button to basically say start and so forth. Now on this website you'll notice some of these have little sort of crowns underneath them. The crowns mean that you have to pay for them, which isn't great, so I'm not going to pay for these, but you can see here I've got an option that says press start. Now I don't want you all choosing the same one as me. You can choose whatever you want, so if you wanted to get any other type of icon that you can think of, you do that. Now I'm going to download the icon, so I'm going to click on the icon itself, and then I'm going to click on this option over here which says PNG, and then I'm going to select free download, and what it's going to do is it's going to download it and it's going to end up in my downloads folder. So what I would do now is, if I was you, I would add in a image container, set it to be 4/12, add in a text box, and set that then to be 8/12. And then once you've done that, click on the flat icon website and just find an icon. Get everything ready before we put it all together. So pause the video now, get everything ready, and then resume the video when you've downloaded your icon. Got our image which is downloaded. This is in my downloads folder. Now if you're not using Chrome, what you may need to do is locate your downloads folder wherever it may be, and you can have it then ready, set to go. So I know my downloads folder is here, so I've got my image there ready to be used. Okay, so how do we set the image? Now it says here, look, in big red box, no image has been set yet. Edit the module. So let's have a look. What do we do? Well, let's click on the module first. Now then, you'll notice at the bottom things will start to change. So one of the options here, look, is image, file, upload an image. So I'm going to click on this here, and it's going to ask me, right, where do you want this image to be? Well, it's none of these images I need. So what we're going to do is you're going to click on upload files, and then we're going to drag the file in here. Now you can either drag it if it's shown at the bottom and drop it, or if you open your downloads folder, just drag the file in there and wait for it to upload. Now you can see mine is done, so I'm going to click on confirm. And you'll notice nothing happens. Don't worry, something has happened in the background, but we have to refresh our screen in a moment. So once I click on confirm here, and then if I click on publish changes, and then close, you can see now what's happened. The image has been placed in. Now I'm going to go back into my editor. Handily, I've got this lovely little green icon in the bottom which says edit in Live Composer, and because I've started to build my site, I can click on that and then I can go straight back into it. Now I'm going to edit my text here, so I'm going to click on edit in WP Editor, and we're going to delete this. I'm in the visual option here, by the way. So I'm going to put the heading in starting the game. To start the game, you will need to read the instructions. Press or click the A button to be taken into the main game. Okay, so we've got our first instruction here, and what I'm going to do to make this stand out a little bit, I'm going to bold it, and I'm not going to use heading 1, I'm going to use a smaller heading, heading 3, and then I'm going to click on confirm. And as you can see there, now the text is updated straight away, and it's ready to go. So the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to add in a few more modules here. So I'm going to click on another one here called add module. But you'll notice it's not doing anything. The reason being is it's saying at the bottom here, look, ooh, we need to confirm. So if ever when you click it doesn't do anything, just have a look at the bottom, because you'll notice every time I do this, the little green button will shake and wobble. So it's telling you you've got to do something over here first. So let's click on confirm, which is saved, and now I can add in another module. This time I'm going to probably put the text over here, because I'll show you how to do that, and we'll add in the image over to the other side. So I'm going to add my text in first, and then I'm going to click on this, or hover over again, and we're going to go to 8/12 again, and we're going to add another image in, and I'm going to click and hover, and I'm going to go to 4/12 over here. Now you'll notice, look, it's gone back over. So all we need to do is click on this option here, which is a drag item to move, and I can just move it over to the other side as I need to. Now you can make these images larger if you want. So if you wanted to make it 5/12 and you wanted to make the text box a little bit smaller, or if you wanted your image to be on top of your text, you can lay this out in however fashion you want. It is your choice, it's your instruction. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to look at adding in controls. So I'm going to go back to flat icon and I'm going to look for controller. Now you can choose anything you want. I've searched for controller, but I'm going to go for this one here and then I'm going to download it. So this now is downloaded my controller, and we're going to then click into this no image set. I'm going to go back to upload files, and you can see now the process is very similar. So once you've done it once, you can do it time and time again. So if I confirm that, don't worry, it hasn't come up. Let's go back over here. Let's edit our text. Again, it's not allowing me to edit because I've got to confirm. Now we can go back to edit. Okay, so again, we're going to just make sure this is consistent. So that's heading 3. I'm going to click confirm. I'm happy with that. Click confirm again. And then publish changes. And then I'm going to click close just to see what it's done. And you can see there, look, that has come in. Now, the reason that's not bolded is because obviously I bolded that one and that was not bolded there. Okay, so what I'm going to ask you to do now is I'm going to ask you to build your instruction page up. This will probably take you the majority of the lesson, but I'm going to ask you to cover a few things. Building everything, I've put a link here to a very small little PowerPoint presentation. What this will do is just give you a rough overview of things that I need you to add in. So you've seen there's a little image of the instruction text that I showed you earlier. These are the things that I need you to add into your instruction page. So I want to know how you start the game. I want you to tell me how to control the main player. I want you to explain to me how the score or collectibles or power-ups work, depending on what you've done, because some people have done different things in their games. I want you then to explain to me how to gain or lose lives, and then obviously talk to me about the enemies. Some of you have done 2 or 3 different types of enemies, so explain the difference between them as well. If you want to get screenshots of your own game in, you're more than welcome to. I'm not going to explain to you how to do that. You can work that out, I'm sure. But essentially, this is what you need to do. You need to make me an instruction page on your website. Now, if you need any help, please feel free to use the chat facility on your Teams, or you can email your teacher directly.